My name is Hailey Leonardi, and this is my transition speech. So, I think the best place to start would probably be the beginning. So, I was a baby once, surprisingly. So, I was born in the summer of 2003 in a little house on Highbrook Road in Bar Harbor. My mom says I was the only good thing that happened that August. My earliest memory is from the first preschool I went to when I was around 3 years old. I remember playing with uncooked rice and discussing important topics like whether it was very grown up to call a cut a boo-boo. The thing I remember best from that preschool was actually that there was a boy in my class that was in a wheelchair, and it was the biggest, most complicated mechanism I had seen in my life. I was blessed with a very fortunate childhood. I grew up with two loving, supportive parents and many opportunities to explore my interests. On the left, that's my mom. I don't even know how old she was, but she played soccer. And there's my dad and his younger sister and their goat, Bartholomew, and their horse, Squire. There's me and my dad vibing. I was a baby. Let's see. My parents tell me that I was always a really sweet, friendly, outgoing child, and I have them to thank for that. They used to purposefully socialize me with their friends and other kids my age when I was little, and that led to a complete lack of shyness around strangers. Honestly, I consider myself extremely lucky that I was never kidnapped. Whenever I was at the beach or the park, I would always find new families, as my mom calls it. I would look for kids around my age and just integrate myself into their family outing. Apparently, I would also invite strangers over to my house to hang out and would tell them my home address. Miraculously, that never ended badly, but if anything stuck with me, it was my extroverted nature. As well as being social, something else that has pretty much been a constant in my life was drawing and art. Ever since I was young, it's always been something that could entertain me and give me something to work and improve on. Even though art was always something that I could do casually, it wasn't really a serious hobby until my middle school art teacher told me that she thought I had a talent and gave me a sketchbook to take home on the last day of school in like 5th grade. Shout out to Miss Cram. I had never had an actual sketchbook before. Previously, I had just used a lined notebook. At first, I thought she had given it to me as a summer assignment and worried for 3 months about what she wanted me to draw. However, once I found out that she just wanted me to have something to draw in outside of class, I stopped worrying about it and just started drawing stuff. Stuff that I liked, stuff from TV shows, movies, video games. I used to try and give my mother and younger sister art lessons since they always told me how good I was at drawing. I would organize them and I'd sit them down and be like, all right, this is how you actually draw a horse. It wasn't great. Let's see. I especially drew people. That element, at least, has stayed with me and what I've drawn ever since. I find that interesting since being around people is a huge part of my personality. And it still is. A lot of the way that I think and the way that my brain works is centered around people and relations. And yeah, pretty much all that I am is centered around how I interact with other people. One thing that was always changing, however, was what I wanted to be when I grew up. For some people, they kind of just know for their whole life, but it seems like my aspirations changed fairly often. If I remember correctly, the list of future careers that I wanted includes, but is not limited to, artist, professional swimmer, scientist in general, physicist, professional soccer player, famous actor, emphasis on famous, psychologist, animator, and art teacher. Sometimes when I would think I was totally committed to my current dream, I would tell my whole family so that they could prepare. I remember my aunt getting me a physics set for my birthday at some point when that was a popular idea of mine. I think I used it about twice and decided physics wasn't for me. Since then, different ideas have been bouncing around in my head while I decide who I want to be. So what am I now? Well, basically I'm the same kid I was 5-10 years ago, except now I'm a teenager, and that comes with all of its own kind of problems. Nowadays I don't have as much time as I would like to work on art, but I never let it escape completely. I've noticed lately that since I haven't had much personal time to work on art, I've become a chronic doodler. Most of my doodles are people too. Oh shoot, that's not it. Where'd it go? There they are. Oh, where are we? But some good things have come, that's doodles. A lot of them are from this class. The one all the way on the left is actually, I think I doodled Antonia when we were reading that. That's not Jesus. That's just some guy. That's Garfield. I've been drawing Garfield a lot, too. And that's just like not even half the doodles I have in my books right now. I also, where am I? Some good things have come from growing up a little. But by the time I was in 8th grade, I was so ready to get out of middle school. Not only did I need a change of environment, but I was also really excited for the opportunity to reinvent myself, and I really wanted more friends. Not that I wasn't happy with the friends that I had at the time, but I've always been excited to meet new people. A change didn't happen immediately when I became a freshman, but looking back on who I was 2.5 years ago, and who I am today, I'm so happy with the change. The biggest difference has been how I perceive myself. I've always had self-esteem issues, but they were the most prominent when I was around 13 to 14. It still has a tendency to swing pretty drastically, which can also affect my art. Sometimes I feel like I'm on top of the world and nothing could possibly bring me down, and other times I just feel like an ugly loser. It happens to the best of us. But again, a lot of things in my life has revolved around how I view myself. So recently, I decided to test if how I see myself is the way that other people see me, since it's kind of just been something that's constantly in the back of my mind. Ooh, shaking. So like a real Gen Z kid, I used a feature connected to Snapchat to send an anonymous poll to my friends and gave the classic prompt, describe me in 3 words. I told them to be completely honest since it was anonymous, and this is what they said. Ooh, there we are. So, each group of 3 is a person that sent these words. I'm glad that my coworker was honest. Someone called me scary, but also cute. I'm glad that this person was honest because they called me out for being procrastinating, but they also called me cool in Spanish. Somebody used good to hang with as 1 word. Love that. Some people describe my hair. Sometimes I feel like my hair is my most prominent feature. But overall, pretty nice words. Somebody told me to be more confident, which is very, very true. But I'm a big fan of fake it till you make it. Let's see, where am I? So seeing that all these people, when given the chance to be totally honest, chose these kind words, it really kind of made me see things in a different light. It made me see that I'm more than just my negative emotions, because most of the time I don't like people are calling me energetic. I feel tired at all hours of the day, and like I never feel motivated. But somebody called me hardworking, so let's see. So yeah, that kind of turned around my view of myself a little bit. So I can, it gives me something to work for, to kind of feel like the person that these people see me as. So something else that high school gave me that I'll always be grateful for is the chance to discover myself and some other interests through extracurriculars. Soccer has always been a part of me, even if it's not the forefront of my interests. I've played since I was 6, and I've been a goalie since around the age of 8, and it's been so cool. I've loved the whole thing. I've also been doing martial arts for 7 years, which seems really long, but I guess I started when I was 9. And this May, I'm going to be testing for my 2nd degree black belt. Maybe that's why someone called me scared. In my sophomore year, I was lucky enough to be accepted into the National Art Honor Society, which has been a huge thing for me. I've been able to grow my skills as well as learn how to look for inspiration for my art. But something else that I was able to discover when I got into high school was theater. And that's right. There she is. There it is. I thought I'd try out the spring play my freshman year, Animal Farm, to see if I'd like it. And I ended up really enjoying the experience. Since I'm unable to do the musical due to the fact that it's during soccer season and I can't sing or dance, I decided my sophomore year to audition for the 1 act. Boom! That's me. That was pretty scary, since the 1 act is the only play of the year that you can be cut from, but I decided, I may as well try. And somehow I actually managed to get in, even if it was a non-speaking role that Mr. Rush made up and put into the play. That was actually a really valuable experience, however. Not only did it teach me physical acting, which was really important, it also taught me that I didn't necessarily need a major role in order to enjoy being part of a production. And somehow I managed to get all festival cast at the regional competition, which was insanely cool, and it was very weird for me. That's me walking across the stage, like, in disbelief, because I didn't think I deserved it. Let's see. Since then, I did my second spring play, which is me looking all sassy up in the corner. And I'm now a part of the work in progress that is this year's one act, which everybody should come see. Even though rehearsals and all that jazz take up a lot of time, I couldn't be happier with my decision to participate, and I look forward to every rehearsal, performance, and 11 p.m. trip to Denny's. It's horrible and great all at the same time. So I've talked a lot about where I am now, so how about where I'm going? Well, to be perfectly honest, I kind of don't have a clue. This is some of my art now. I draw, as you can see, it's a lot of people. All these up here are from when I took intermediate drawing and painting last year. This is an unfinished work, but I was trying to paint Macbeth, and I didn't finish. I like the boat, though. That's from an NAHS prompt. That's a weird, stylized self-portrait that I'm not done with. I'm wearing the same hair. And that one in the corner's from a while ago. And I realized that's the only digital art piece that I put on there, even though I do a lot of digital art. Oh, let's see. I kind of don't have a clue where I'm going. Personally, I think it's okay to not have everything figured out yet, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse to not think about my future. One thing I know for sure, however, is that whatever my career ends up being, it has to involve the arts. I've pondered that idea recently when I've been thinking about my future career. Like, I know it's pretty tough. It can be pretty tough to go into a career in the arts that is guaranteed to get you money. And I've thought about, whether I want to search for and go for a career that I know will keep me satisfied and entertained all the time, or go for a career that I know can get me money and hope that I can do art on the side. It's kind of been a toss-up. And I've been thinking a lot about it. Let's see. I found that even within a school setting, however, I tend to become considerably unhappy if I don't have some kind of art class for a semester. The first semester of my junior year, was actually the first one that didn't include an art class. It was not good for me. Luckily, I have digital media scheduled for next semester, so that should be a pick-me-up. As well as other classes in the future, I'm planning doing advanced design thinking, so that means I'll get a life skills credit and I won't have to do a senior Rex, which is cool. Another thing that I can possibly look forward to is the prospect of art programs and schools outside of MDI, and outside of this high school in particular. One program that would be a really great opportunity for me would be Haystack Mountain School of Crafts. Haystack's a summer art program in Deer Isle, Maine, that offers multiple workshops for different mediums. MDIA, this high school, sends a few students every year, and I've only heard good things about it from the people who participated. Another possible opportunity is a summer program at the Maine College of Art in Portland. MECA offers a 20-day pre-college program that allows students to choose courses for 3 of 8 majors available, which are animation, ceramics, illustration, fashion and textile design, metalsmithing and jewelry design, painting, photography, and printmaking. This would be a great opportunity for a learning experience for me before I possibly go off to college, but these things take money, and this particular program is a little out of the range of what is currently possible for me as someone who does not work full-time. However, this does not mean that MECA is completely off the table for me. Yes, it's still within Maine, which can definitely be a deal breaker for some people who have grown up here, but I'm personally am not completely opposed to the idea. I have lived on this island my entire life, which has had its pros and cons. It's been nice to not have to switch around my community a lot. That's always been a constant, but also I haven't really had a taste of what other types of living are. I've only lived on this island. Even though my parents didn't grow up here, yeah, this is all I've ever known. Another idea would be the Pratt Institute in New York, which is a little more expensive than Mecca. Pratt offers an extensive art program that would be great to grow my skills, but being in New York City, that could prove to be extremely tough to manage should I be accepted. I still haven't got my heart set on any one school yet, haven't visited any yet, and haven't really gotten the chance to do a thorough search for something that really suits me, since I haven't set my heart on any one career either. I've also taken a brief look at RIT for their animation program. I've heard about it from other people with similar interests as mine, like Piper Sharon, but I haven't had the chance to look too deeply into that. One thing I am considering right now, though, is the prospect of becoming an art teacher, like I mentioned before. I like working with kids, but I'm not sure for what age group I'd want to teach. I've been toying with the idea of becoming a high school art teacher, and who better to ask about it than our very own Dan Stillman. When I asked him about his life as an art teacher, he told me that while it's something he enjoys immensely, something that always bothers him about working in a high school is seeing kids go through struggles without being able to do much to help. That and the pay isn't necessarily dream-worthy. It isn't bad, though. That path is definitely one to consider, but for now at least, I'm planning on focusing on maintaining my grades to the best of my ability so that I can continue to do the things I really love and discover things that I'll love that I don't even know about yet. I'm just really excited to see where life takes me from here, since it's kind of all over the place right now. And that's it.
How is your art so good?
Yeah. Oh, dude. That.
Please likes.
Enlighten you? I mean, the stuff.
How do you even art?
It's
Yeah.
tough, man.
It takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, I don't have as much time to practice right now, but
So,
yeah.
so you said something about maybe becoming an art teacher. What's your dream?
So my dream career, I've also thought about going into film because I took film production as a freshman and absolutely loved it, and that would be a cool outlet for some ideas of mine because I really like the whole process of filmmaking. I don't know exactly, what particular thing that I would focus on, but probably dream job. And I also think it'd be really cool to have worked on films that are major motion pictures. So that would probably be a pretty cool thing for me. Yes, sir.
Going off of films, you mentioned animation.
Yes.
I know a big detractor is repetitive drawing, just moving tiny things.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel about that?
I think I haven't had much experience with it. I've tried it in the past, but I don't really have the right materials. I haven't been able to purchase the right software and stuff, so I haven't had the chance to be able to experiment as much as I want with that. But I feel like that, since I haven't had much experience, I can't really say much, but I feel like it wouldn't be a deal breaker for me because I like to focus on little details and stuff.